1, 2, 3.
That's the old theme song back on tap. That means it is time for Brunch with Bud. We're back on our normal day. Happy Tuesday, everybody, as we talk sports with my old radio partner, Bud Poliquin. Bud, today's broadcast, by the way, brought to you by our friends at Cam's Pizzeria, where it is always love at first slice. All right, Bud. Yes, how are you, my friend? Let's get talking about all things sports, and we'll start on the local front. So Syracuse football getting ready for a rivalry that you've seen many a times. You've seen it here in Syracuse, which is where this one will happen. You've also seen it on the road in that glorious stadium out there in Pittsburgh. It is the Pitt Panthers. Is it really a rivalry, Bud, now that both teams are sitting in the ACC for the last bunch of years?
Yeah, it is. And it's a good thing, because even though they're sitting in the ACC, there still is this Northeast Iron Bowl sort of thing going on between them. And it's not as glorious as it was back in the day. Freilich versus Tim Green, Tony Dorsett against the whole defense, and Dan Marino and all this kind of deal. So it's not as storied, but it's still a nice thing, because college football has torn asunder all rivalries, all geography, meaningful geography, all conferences, leagues. The deciders in college football have, in my estimation, gone a long way to ruin college football. And so when we can hold on to some vestige of yesterday, and SU Pitt is doing that, even though they're in the ACC, yeah, I think that's good. And I would still call that something of a rivalry. Yes, I would.
All right. So the two will meet at the JMA Dome this weekend, and we'll see. Pitt is actually pretty respectable this season, and Syracuse needs to pick up a couple of wins here in the second half of the season if they want to make a bowl game. So this is one certainly that they've probably got etched in as, hey, we got to get this one if we want to at least get to that 6-game minimum or 6-win minimum to get into a bowl game. Go ahead, PG.
All right, boys. I know you guys love this, so let me give you some random trivia. All right, here we go. Random trivia. Let's put this on here. Syracuse Pitt. All right. So I'm going to pick, Bud loves this, and so does Jim Boeheim. I'm going to pick a golden age of time, and I'm going to pluck just a piece of history. Yep. Since 2002, okay, we're talking 23 years of the Syracuse-Pitt rivalry. There have been 23 games played between Syracuse and Pitt. How many of those do you think Syracuse has won against Pitt since 2002? 23 total games.
23. What's the record in the last 23?
Yeah. How many have Syracuse won against Pitt over the last 23 games?
You want to go first or second on this one?
I'm a total guess based on his little attitude here. I'll say 9 games.
Okay.
9 of 23.
I could, they could have won 20. I don't think so though. I'm going to say 9.
I'm going to say 7.
The answer, boys, is 4. Syracuse has won 4 of the last 23. So, Bud, I hate to bring off-air on air, but you were so pish-posh with, obviously, Syracuse should be able to take care of business here against Pitt. Well, the last 23 years has been different, buddy boy.
Pitt's totally had their number.
Well,
and blowouts.
Let me restate.
All right.
They had better beat Pitt, because after Pitt, 3 of their next 4 games are on the road.
All right.
And they're on the road against number 12, Georgia Tech, number 2, Miami, number 3, Notre Dame. And the one that's not on the road has some intrigue in it, because it's North Carolina and Bill Belichick with the Muse attached coming into the Dome. And the Muse, of course, is his girlfriend. And the idea that Belichick is the only thing separating Syracuse after Pitt from 3 top 13 teams, it makes for really intriguing football after Pitt. So I should have said, they're going to beat Pitt, they better beat Pitt, because otherwise they'll have to beat one of those 3 and maybe 2 of those 3. So
now, are you saying Bill Belichick needs a muse in order to coach football? But he's never needed a muse before.
No, that's what they're calling her. Capital. No, they're calling her capital T, capital M, the Muse. That's her nickname.
Oh, really?
Because she apparently is running Bill Belichick Inc. these days.
Yeah, all right.
And she's even trademarked the thing of Chapel Bill. So he is on
nice.
Chapel Hill, and
So
she's got that.
if we put that on a T-shirt, we could get sued. Is what you're trying to tell us.
There you go.
Lovely.
So,
all right, look,
news.
since you brought up Belichick, let's talk about Belichick because, look, I mean, this is a guy that, he's obviously legendary status, arguably one of the top 5 all-time coaches in football. I almost think that's indisputable, whether you'd rank him even, on the top end of that list or toward the bottom end of that list. I think it's a realistic list, whether you think Tom Brady's responsible for it or not. I mean, you don't win that many rings and not, be mentioned among the greatest of the greats. So he certainly has earned that. But it has been a rocky road here in season 1 in Chapel Hill. And the question is, Bud, is this thing going to work? I mean, is this guy who surprised the whole world when he accepted this job at North Carolina, is this thing going to work on the college level? Do you see it? I know we're very, very early here, but do you see it working, or do you see it ultimately as an abject failure?
Well, I think I was pretty clear back when we talked about this initially, when it all came down, that this was ridiculous. That I didn't understand Carolina's interest. I didn't understand Belichick's interest. I didn't think he was meant for a college. I don't think he's meant for anything at this point in his life and his career. He should be counting his money, living on an island, having fun with the muse, whatever he wants to do. But coaching football at his age and now doing it in the college ranks where he's never been, or at least hasn't been since God was a little boy, I think it's going to be the abject failure rather than saying, well, it's early. In fact, the rumors are, as you folks know, that there's some talk about, does he want to go? Does Carolina want to get rid of him? Is a buyout in the offing? So I think that indicates that this thing is going to be a short thing. He may not last a year, but if he does, I don't think he makes it to year 2. And if year 2 is like year 1, he'll never make it to year 3.
And by the way, he's been absolutely denying those rumors that are out there about buyout and so on and so forth.
But, don't they all? Everybody denies that. And it's interesting. And I know I'm getting ahead of. I know we want to talk about it, but they fired James Franklin. Just and without any real thought. Well, we're going to have to pay him $50 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, $50 million for James Franklin to walk. And the people who brought Belichick to North Carolina are already having to talk about, are you trying to buy him out? And again, and I know I said this a show or 2 ago, the idea that the James Franklins of the world, and even in the pros, Brian Callahan got fired today in his 2nd year, in only the 6th game of his 2nd year.
Yeah.
And the people who hire the Brian Callahans, the people who extend the James Franklins, the people who bring Bill Belichick into the college world, and somehow it doesn't work out for Callahan, for Franklin, for maybe Bill Belichick. And the people who do the hiring are never brought to task. They fired a coach. I don't feel sorry for Franklin. He's getting $50 million. So, I mean, come on. He's had a wonderful time there. He's getting his $50 million a walk. But the idea that you're firing Franklin, you're firing Callahan, you may be buying out Belichick, and nobody ever says who are the stooges, and stooges they are, who hired these people, who extended these people. They're never talked about. They're never dragged across the coals, and I don't know why. Whoever extended Franklin, whoever's on the hook for the $50 million that he's paid, need the buyout, that person should be out the door along, or that group of people should be out the door with the guy.
Yeah.
I don't understand why those people they say, oops, we made a mistake. So what? Let's go on. I don't get it.
By the way, here's the quote on screen from Bill Belichick. He said, quote, reports about my looking for a buyout or trying to leave here is categorically false. There's zero truth to any of that. I'm glad I'm here. We're working toward our goals. We believe very much in the process. We need to just keep working and grinding away. That's exactly what we're doing. Thanks to ESPN for providing the quote.
And as I understand it, there are 70 people on that team, 70 brought in by Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, the previous 4, I think, recruiting classes were very good ones. And he ran off the bulk of those people. This is his program. This is his thing already. And for him to be talking about process, well, when he gets rid of all the work that had been done before him, and now he's got this on his hands, that's not a process as much as it is a gigantic hole.
Yeah.
He's dug himself. And will he want to or be allowed to dig himself out? I don't know. We'll see. I don't think so. I think he'll either walk, run, or be nudged at the end of the year, or certainly at the end of next year. If year 2 looks like year 1, again, there won't be a year 3.
All right, it's our Brunch with Bud segment, a little show every single week we do with Bud Poliquin, as you see him right there to my right. And it is brought to you by our friends at Cam's Pizzeria. Don't forget to like our video, hit the little thumbs up, and subscribe. Hit the red subscribe. You can win yourself a free $400 golf club. Get in the raffle right now. We're running out of spots. One of our first 500 subscribers is going to go home with a golf club, perhaps for your dad or for yourself or for some other family member. It's a Christmas gift, so on and so forth. Let's just take 30 seconds to learn a little bit more about our friends from Cam's.
When you think of Cam's Pizzeria, think about 2 of your favorites. Their zesty buffalo chicken wing pizza or their tasty chicken bacon ranch. Over 16 specialty pizzas made fresh daily with the best ingredients. Indulge in their homemade calzones, subs, wraps, salads, and their famous cannolis for dessert. They're all made with love just for you. Order online for 10% off at camspizza.com. Locations in Camillus and Oswego. Cam's Pizzeria. It's love at first slice.
All right, back on Brunch with Bud here on a Tuesday, talking all things sports. Here's a fun one, Bud. Carmelo Anthony, we know him, obviously, from Syracuse fame and NBA fame. Brought us a national championship here in Central New York in 2003. And we've got an interesting development. We've known about this for a while, but now that the basketball players are in camp and starting to get their juices flowing and getting warmed up for a regular season, I thought the way too early thoughts on Carmelo's son, Cayenne, playing for Syracuse this season. He will be on the court. I expect we'll see a pretty fair amount of him. I don't know if he's going to be in the starting lineup, but if he's not, he's certainly going to be a reserve off the bench. Had a pretty successful high school career, decided to follow in the footsteps of his dad right here at Syracuse, where essentially the basketball center is named after his dad, called the Mello Center. So give me your thoughts about Cayenne, and is he going to have success here? Is this a heavy weight to carry, a big burden to have to follow in the footsteps inside the very school that his dad once roamed the halls, albeit only for a year? Go ahead.
Well, number one, my understanding is he's not going to start, and that's no big deal. I mean, once upon a time, freshmen didn't play, weren't eligible.
Right. Yeah.
And then when they became eligible, they didn't play. They, sat and watched and so on. So the idea that he may not start, almost certainly not start, and may not play the kind of minutes that Carmelo played as a freshman, that's neither here nor there. But I don't think people should look upon him as a star or a starter. The bigger question is this a good thing? We'll find out. That's the easy answer. We'll find out. But I question, and I'm only questioning because I don't know. But I question whether this was the prudent decision by the Anthony family, because you are asking an awful lot from this kid. Whatever kind of leash people want to give the kid, they're always going to have in their mind, that's Carmelo's son. He'll never be anything other than Carmelo's son, at least here in Syracuse. And the idea that he's going to walk into a building named after his father, just walking in that building, I think there's tremendous pressure on the kid. And they can say there's not, and I appreciate they're going to do everything they can to tamp it down. And maybe I'm Chicken Little here. Maybe there's nothing to worry about. But it seems to me a more prudent decision would have been to go to anywhere but Syracuse, because he's not going to be his dad. I mean, come on, his dad's going to the Hall of Fame. His dad won a national championship, in his first year as a freshman. I don't know. We'll see. But my thing is, I'm a little bit leery for the kid. I'm a little bit wary, and I think that he might have been more. He might have been better advised going somewhere else.
All right, so let's talk about expectations real quick, Bud. If Cayenne doesn't win a national championship here, his entire Syracuse tenure is a failure.
Well, that's the kind of stuff you would say. Yes,
that's what he's talking about, Boy Green.
Hey, man.
Yeah, I am not. I'm not even coming close to saying that because I'll tell you what. If you have to bet, you're going to bet against that. I mean, there's a lot of schools that want to win the national title in these next 3, 4, 5 years, however long he's going to be here. So that's no. Anybody who thinks that, and if you're thinking it, you're crazy. Anybody who thinks that it would be a failed experience if he doesn't at least match his father's national championships, insanity, okay, and madness, craziness. That's not at all. I'm not anywhere near that. I'm just saying that every time he takes the floor, he's going to be known as Carmelo's son as much as what his name is, what his last name is. It's going to be no. Carmelo's son should be on the back of his jersey because that's what everybody's going to be saying.
Because that's what I was going to say, right? On the back of the jersey, it's not going to say your first name. It's going to say Anthony. And I'm going to say, Anthony. Oh, yeah, boom. It takes me back 20 years. There he is.
Well, again, madness reigns in a lot of there's insanity everywhere in this country and in this world, and that's just another part of it. Okay.
Well, fine. You think that's insane? That's fine, bud. Let's go to a different direction. I'm sure you'll find this less insane. That Fran Brown was already being asked this week about the Penn State opening with James Franklin being fired. Let's go to Fran Brown. We've got the footage. We've got the tape. Go to it, people behind the scenes.
Leave for some bigger job bigger job. Do you have anything you want to say to the Syracuse fan base to reassure, like, this is where you want to be?
I mean, I'm working at Syracuse right now, so I don't really need to talk about that. If this wasn't where I wanted to be at right at the moment, would I be standing here at this moment?
Nope.
Yeah, so I'm just focused on that. I'm focused on being here. I'm locked in on coaching the players that I have here. This is where I work at. I think that's disrespectful to even bring that up and ask that. Like, what's the point asking that to make some media or me to say something opposite of it? Like, I'm where they hired me to come here and do a job to coach this.
Well, not a bad answer, but the better answer would be, are you insane? Are you crazy? I've coached, 12 plus 6? He's coached 18 games or whatever in his career.
Sure. Yeah.
And somebody's asking me whether I am equipped to handle a job on the magnitude of Penn State. People are, I would be amazed. I would say, let me get this straight. You're telling me that people are actually mentioning my name? And you're asking me what I think of that? I think that's crazy. And I would try to laugh at it, but I'm so gobsmacked by the thought that anybody would think of me that I don't really have an answer for you other than that's crazy. And no, I'm not going anywhere. That would have been a nice answer. That wasn't a bad answer.
Yeah, I don't think you would have gotten the I'm not ready for this thing, but I think maybe the more appropriate is, well, that's nice that I'm being mentioned in such high circles. Penn State has an incredible history. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here.
Yeah, I'm the Syracuse head coach. Because here's the thing. We don't hold these coaches accountable. Fran Brown could say, this is my dream job. I'm here for life. He can say whatever the hell he wants at that podium and then turn around and take a job if he wants to. And no one's ever going to hold him accountable, so it doesn't matter. What he should always say is he should always play to the home crowd. I love you. I bleed orange. I'm orange all day. And then if he wants to ditch town next week, he's going to ditch town.
Right. It's just
again, my position would be that'd be like if I was, well, maybe they'd say at any time in my career, but certainly in the first year and a half of my career, somebody said, "Hey, the New York Times is looking to hire you. What do you think?" I'd say, are you on drugs? This is insane. I'm not going to the New York Times now. I'm not going to the Times anytime soon. I'm like, look at me. And I'm not holding him. I'm not criticizing him. I'm saying that if it was me, I would just laugh it off and say, you got to be kidding me. I mean,
so would you have rejected the New York Times if they offered you a job in the same position Fran Brown currently is, 18 games in? You would have said no to the New York Times, bud?
Well, I would have dismissed it as ludicrous,
I
would not say
offered you the job.
Right. What if they gave you the job? What do you think?
If they offered me the job
and you headed to New York, you going or not?
If they offered me the equivalent of 18 whatever into my 18
games, right?
18 games into my career,
20 columns in, here they go.
20 columns in, that's right.
I think right now, if I had my brains when I was 24 years old,
answer the question. What's up with all these levers you got to pull?
Question.
If it was on a Sunday,
I had my brains now at 24, I'd say that's insane. No, I wouldn't go. I'm not ready. But if I was 24 and the New York Times said, "Hey, we want you,"
Triple the
I
salary.
would go and I would
I'm over.
flame out. I would have flamed out in 6 months or less. So it sounds like I'm being critical of him. The only part I'm critical is when he says that's a disrespectful question. There's nothing disrespectful about it. I would say to him, the question's a fair question, but the notion of my going to Penn State is ridiculous. I mean, Penn State, I don't know where you rate it, but across the arc of college football, it's certainly a top 20 program, maybe a top 10 program.
Maybe.
And for anybody to think that I'm ready for a top 10 or top 20 program, I'm flattered. But folks, you got the wrong guy. I'm not the guy for that job in the here and now.
But coaches never speak that way, bud. Coaches never say,
I know.
not ready for that job, or, man, why would they?
They always got to be full of themselves.
There's no way. These are, these guys all have swagger, and they always think they're ready for the next big job, the next big thing. They could run the biggest program out there. They should be, yeah. So
well, that they're not as old as I am, and they don't have the wisdom of my many years.
Sure.
Okay. How about that?
Yes. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
Lacking. That's
wisdom lacking. All right, let's move our way into baseball, bud. So two things I want to hit on in baseball. The first is the Tigers trying to take care of some business. They say that they're going to keep their manager, A.J. Hinch. They want to try and extend him and keep him there as long as he wants to be there, despite being eliminated from the playoffs, obviously. Also, the same thing with Tariq Skubal, who looks like he's going to land his second Cy Young in a row in the American League. All signs are pointing there. He won the Cy Young last year, arguably the greatest, the best pitcher in baseball at the moment. And he did pitch in that, right? He pitched in that last game. I remember we were talking about it before the game happened, and you said, I'll take Detroit because of him. And as it turns out, that thing goes 15 innings. An epic playoff game, which unfortunately the Tigers lose. So why don't you kind of hit on all three of those things? Skubal and the fact that they want to extend him to a long-term deal, A.J. Hinch not going anywhere according to Tigers officials, and the 15-inning game. Got to talk about that unbelievably great game.
Well, see, I'm going to go to the game first. I watched, I don't know if I should admit this, but I watched every pitch of that game, and there were 472 pitches in that game.
What time did that end, bud?
Well, there's no reason.
About 1:30 in the morning.
Good reason why we call you Mr. Baseball. And
there you go. That's right.
Yeah, I watched all 4 hours and 58 minutes. So that was a 5-hour game.
Oh my God.
And I read all about epic, like you just called it, unbelievably great game, I think you said, or epic, or whatever you called it. Me, and I'm semi Mr. Baseball. This is going to be heresy, but I thought the game was agonizing. I thought it was terrible. I sat there. Okay. I said, will somebody please put the ball in play? There were 37 strikeouts. Will somebody please put the ball in play? Can we get something going here? Can somebody get something done other than these pitchers just mowing everybody down? and here's the cool thing. Now think about this. That was a 5-hour game. It was a 5-hour game in an era where we have all the speed up rules. Now, if we didn't have the speed up rules, that would have been maybe a 6-hour game.
Sure, it's very possible.
Because
right,
think about this. Every pitch, 472 of them, many of those pitches were very crucial. You may remember there was a postseason game. I think it was a World Series. The Yankees were in it. Posada went out to the mound. At one stretch, he was going out to the mound for every pitch to talk to the pitcher about the pitch he was about to throw. Every pitch. Because back then you could have unlimited mound visits. The batters could step out unlimited times. Now, let's say Posada was catching the other night. He'd have gone out out of, let's say, 472. Let's say that each team threw 250 pitches. He might have gone out to the mound 75 times. Derek Jeter and all the rest of them are going to step out after every pitch. There are 472 of these pitches. The amount of timeouts he can call and this, that, and the other. It's a 6-hour game, and nothing happened. I mean, nothing happened in that game except a lot of strikeouts. So,
yeah.
I've seen a lot of baseball, and I've loved baseball and all that. It was lost on me that was an epic or an instant classic. I thought it was a bore.
And I thought you liked it.
Wow, I was just about to say, did you ever expect Lerch to say, "Gee, move it along, let's go, speed up the pace"?
Pitchers duel. This is pathetic. Somebody hit a few home runs. Let's score some runs. Let's get them on the bases.
I don't need home runs. I need the ball to be put in play, fellas. 37 strikeouts. That's insane. Anyway, I didn't think much of that game.
That's my case.
Scooble.
Yeah, how about Scooble and Hinch?
The best pitcher in the world. The best pitcher in the world. I don't even know what he's worth. He only plays one every 5 games, so I don't think you can pay him like you pay Shohei. I don't think you can pay him like you pay Vladdy. But he's going to get $300-400 million. And I don't know that I'd pay him that. I don't know if I'd pay any pitcher that because they get hurt. And they could be a great pitcher and your team still doesn't win. He was great the other day. Fantastic. They didn't win. So I don't know. He's going to get a lot, and he may well stay in Detroit, but he's going to get a lot. And I think it'll be a contract that, he's going to lose a year probably to Tommy John like they all do. I think giving pitchers these massive contracts, that's a tough decision to make, but they all make it. He'll make a bundle, and I guess he'll stay in Detroit, but I don't know that. And Hinch, no comment. I mean, he's a manager. He makes out a lineup. He puts his foot on the top step and watches the game, and how big a deal he is. I don't know. If they like him, they like him, I guess. I have no real comment there.
All right.
That's the biscuits.
Well,
just a quickie thing. This has nothing to do with anything. So the one game has 37 strikeouts, and you say, how can that be? How about the Kansas City Chiefs the other day against whoever they played, the Lions?
Yeah.
No penalties.
Wow.
No penalties. Now, I don't know. You're Mr. Football there, Paulie.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a football game, an NFL game, where one team never, ever got a penalty? Never, ever had one penalty yard? No penalty.
There had to have been, but let me do.
But I don't remember anyone. I don't remember that.
There should have been a penalty on that hit that
Aiden Hutchinson.
Hutchinson. Yeah, that should have been a penalty.
So
and I don't usually advocate for those late hit ones, but that was.
There's a thing out there that you're well aware of that people think the fix is in when the Chiefs play. They always get the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
The referees are always kind to the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if I believe in that, but I do. If I were the Lions, I'd believe in it because how do you play 60 minutes of football and not have a single penalty?
Yeah.
Well, actually, here's
going on in that game. Come on.
Shout out to the internet, bud. I've got some data for you. So there has never been an NFL game that's been called without a penalty on at least one of the teams. Okay. Where it's been perfectly clean, that has never happened before.
Never happened.
But it's not completely uncommon for a team to go completely empty, like go clean one of the teams. Since 2000, there have been 40 games in which a team finished without a single accepted penalty against them. Well, 40 teams since 25 years.
I stand corrected clearly, and I should be a little bit embarrassed, but I've never, to my knowledge, I don't know if I've ever witnessed such a game, but I had to have. I had to watch those 40 games. So forgive me for being so agog, but agog I am. Agog I was, and agog I remain.
Well, as the great Carol Burnett once said, Bud, I'm so glad we had this time together. Just to have a laugh or sing a song.
Well, this flew by. I thought we were just
started, and before you know it, it's just time to say goodbye.
Yeah, okay.
Along those lines.
Oh, can I say one other thing here? One more thing. Football. So NFL boy.
Mm.
Do you realize in the AFC, it's almost, how can I say this? I don't know if I literally mean this, but there are 16 teams in the AFC.
Yes, there is.
And there are four of them. Miami, the Jets. No, five of them. Miami, the Jets, Baltimore. I can't read my writing in Tennessee. I don't know who the other one is.
Okay.
There's 5 teams that have combined for 4 wins.
Okay.
So of the 16, you almost have to eliminate those 5 from any playoff consideration.
Browns are the other one. They're
Browns, Cleveland. Yeah. So you have of 16 teams, you're already down basically to 11.
Yeah.
2 of those 11 have 4 losses. So now you're maybe sort of kind of down to 9 teams for the 7 playoff spots, and it's not even the middle of October.
Wait a second. So you're eliminating my 0-6 Jets?
I know it's crazy, but I'm doing that. But isn't it? There's no suggestion that some teams who are doing well with only one loss can't lose, and teams with a lot of losses can't win. But right now, you know, of the 9 teams who are in a pretty good place, you almost wonder if the other 7 teams are already out of it. And we're again on today's October 13th. I find that fascinating.
Don't talk about playoffs.
Jim Moore somewhere.
All right, gentlemen, as always, a pleasure, Bud. We'll talk to you again next week. Have a great week, my friend.
All right, boys. It's been a delight. See you next Tuesday.
All right, there it is. Another episode of Brunch with